seated. We're going to ask Mark if he'd come up at this time.
Thank you, Steve. We're here today to celebrate the life of Charles Anderson, my dad. On behalf of my brothers, Todd and Dale, my mom, Muriel, and the rest of his family, we thank you for attending today. You know, Dad was a man's man. He was defined and molded by hard work. He grew up as a son of a farmer in a cotton farm in South Jeff Davis County near Bassfield. His dad, Luke, was the manager of the local feed and seed store, the cooperative, the co-op as we call it, and a cotton gin. Growing up in the cotton gin and delivering seed and fertilizer to the local farmers, Dad learned a valuable lesson at an early age of the value of hard work. That characteristic of honest work for an honest day's pay followed him and defined him his whole life. You know, in the late 50s, Bassfield was not the center of culture. So a wayward friend from high school, Jeanette Applewhite, left for New Orleans, where Jeanette started working at a grocery store on Parish Road in Chalmette. It just so happens that my mom lived across the street from that very drugstore. Jeanette and Mom became very good friends and returned to Bassfield one day with Mom in tow. Jeanette set Mom up with a blind date with a big old country boy named Charles Anderson. Obviously, that was when Dad's life changed and Mom. Two different cultures met. Rural Mississippi redneck versus Louisiana Cajun beauty and all that goes with that. The rest is indeed history. You know, Dad spent most of his working life at an oil refinery just north of Purvis, later to become Amarada Hess. Dad was one of the first workers that was hired in 1957, and he was the last to walk out the gate almost 60 years later. The refinery had shut down in the late 90s, and for several years, Dad worked as a contractor that actually saw the dismantling of the refinery and handled some of the environmental inspection on the grounds until it closed recently. While at Hess, his fellow workers called him Andy, and probably some other choice names, but his most endearing name was Iron Man. The Iron Man is what they called him. That name, Iron Man, was because he worked so hard and worked so long with a long-time dedication to his job. You know, working in that environment was just hard work, and it would either break you or you become a strong person, as my dad told me so many times. I think one of my dad's proudest moments at Hess is when I turned 18 and I was able to work the weekends on a turnaround. A turnaround is where the plant shuts down and they do maintenance and so forth. It's kind of a big deal. This was certainly one of my proudest moments. I finally got to work with Dad, and I could tell that he was just beaming with pride that I was there. I went to work the following summer, and there, even though I was the boss's son, I got a little payback from his workers like, hey, Mark, go get me some metric pliers or something like that. And when Todd turned 18, he too had a chance to work at Hess and went through some of the similar experiences I did. But working in that environment truly resolved any doubts that we needed to go to college and move forward. When we were teenagers, Dad bought a pulpwood truck to harvest our own timber, and so yes, on our days off, and on weekends, and on holidays, we hauled logs and firewood. A little unorthodox, yep, but Dad wanted to teach us how to work and how to thrive in a tough environment. And yes, it was a hostile environment at times, but another favor that Dad did for us is that he would plant 3 acres of peas. 3 acres of peas. And we would get up early 3 times a week and pick a truckload of peas and sell them to the local Piggly Wiggly store where Dad knew the manager. That was a tough favor. But that's the thing. Dad was a stellar example of how to be a man. He was a man's man. Dad loved us, me and Todd and Dale, and he just wanted us to be a better version of himself. He taught us integrity, hard work, how to be frugal with our resources. But Dad also played with that same intensity. Dad loved to hunt and fish. And growing up, Todd and I spent countless hours hunting and fishing with Dad. You know, his selflessness, he always wanted us to get the bigger buck or catch the largest bass instead of him. And he took great joy in that. You know, later in life, Dad loved to spend countless hours at the old original family farm that he grew up on. He called it the old place. And that was his place of solace and stability and connection to his core values, which was hard work and being a stewardship of what he was entrusted. Dad always was eager to spring into action, always eager to help someone, whether it's fixing a flat or repairing a vehicle. He was the guy that you wanted on speed dial if you're in a jam. You know, Dad loved his grandchildren, Luke, John Mark, and Sarah. And you've seen the bumper sticker, "Ask me about my grandchildren." You've seen that sticker. Well, you better be careful asking Dad that question. You better pack a lunch. But Dad was a preparer. He was a prepper. He was a provider. He prepared himself to meet his Maker. You know, Dad had a relationship with Jesus that was obvious and profound. He rarely missed church. He rarely missed Sunday school in his later years. He was always available to help any work day, and especially loved Project Nativity, where it was we had a drive-by nativity during the Christmas season here at this church for several years, and he loved it because he could bring out his power tools. But Dad's in a better place today, a guaranteed place, promised by the very book that guided Dad's life, the Bible. In Revelation chapter 21, verse 3 and 4, the Apostle John wrote, "Behold, a dwelling of God is with man, and he dwells with them, and they will be with his people, and God himself will be with them as their God. He will wipe away every tear from his eyes, and death shall be no more. Neither shall there be mourning, nor crying, nor pain anymore, and the former things have passed away." You see, our family, we're a family of believers. We believed as Dad believed. We believe that although our earthly body will pass away and eventually die, that we live on for eternity. Charles LaVon Anderson, Dad, we will see you again. Amen.
So I might just say the benediction, Scott. That was, as we get ready to sing the next hymn, one of the things that struck me as the family began to talk was the constant thing of, we're okay, because he's in a better place. And so the irony of today is we come with broken hearts, but as this hymn says, it's well with our soul. Let's stand as we sing. We're going to sing 3 verses.